Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the September meeting of the Greencastle Common Council. If we could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would ask that people keep in mind that tomorrow is the 19th anniversary of 9/11. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Linda, can you call the roll, please?
Councilor Mark Hammer.
Here.
Councilor Adam Cohen.
Here.
Councilor Stacy Langdon. Here. Councilor Veronica Pedrell. Here. Councilor Cody Eckert.
Here.
Councilor Dave Murray.
Here.
And Councilor Jake Weidner.
Here.
Okay, our first order of business is public petitions and comments, and we have Dr. Lori White joining us this evening via Zoom. Unfortunately, our setup doesn't allow everybody to see you, but they will be able to hear you. So, Dr. White, I'll turn the floor over to you. Go ahead.
Sure. And had I known you all were meeting just down the street, I would have come as well. But I'm happy to be here, and thank you so much for the invitation to greet you. Just have a few words of greeting and share a couple of pieces of information, and then happy to answer a few questions. I know that you have a busy agenda. So I wanted to thank all of you for the wonderfully warm welcome I've received from all of the citizens of Greencastle since I arrived here on July 1st. It's wonderful when I walk about the town that folks come up and greet me and say hello, and I've really appreciated that and the opportunity to get to know more about the city of Greencastle, and want to affirm how important our relationship is between the university and the city. And I hope that you all feel the same. Thought you might want to know a little bit about me and what brought me to DePauw. I'm originally from San Francisco, California, and I've worked in higher education my entire career since I graduated from UC Berkeley in 1980. So that's almost 39 years, 8 universities later. And I hope that DePauw will be my 8th and final stop. And what drew me to DePauw was, over the years, I had met and known several DePauw alums, folks who had worked at the university, and they always spoke so positively about their DePauw experiences. Particularly the students talked about the incredible mentorship they received from our faculty, the opportunities for them to do internships and study abroad. And then, as you know, so many of our alums have gone on to successful careers and continue to support the university in fabulous ways. And so when I was offered the opportunity to become the 21st president of DePauw, I obviously said yes, very enthusiastically yes. And even in the midst of the current challenges, I am still excited to be here. So you all probably want to know a little bit about what we have been doing on campus in the midst of this pandemic. So I wanted to give you a little bit of information. We decided to open in what we call a hybrid fashion. So we have some students who are in residence on campus, some students who are commuting, and some students who have chosen to learn fully residentially. Fully living at home virtually. So just in terms of numbers, we currently have about 800 students living on campus, so that's about half of our residential capacity, and that was purposeful. We wanted to ensure that every single student had a single room, and that if we had positive COVID cases, that we would have enough space to provide places for students to isolate and quarantine as necessary. We required every student who was going to learn in residence or plan to be a commuter student to take both a pre-matriculation test and a post-matriculation test. So any student who tested positive before coming to DePauw, we did not invite back to live on campus or to commute until they had a negative test. And then we tested students after they arrived on campus. And so at this point, we have had 6 students test positive. That gives us a positivity rate of 0.61%. We expected that we would have some positives, and so we are managing that. Those students are in isolation. And we've also moved to quarantine students who've been in close contact with a positive student. And we're making sure that the students have meals and are cared for and are well supported by us. We don't send students home if they test positive, though a couple of students have chosen on their own to go home. They probably want to be taken care of by mom and by dad. But at this point, I feel really good about our opening plan, and our students have lived up to our expectations. They are wearing their masks on campus. We haven't seen the big social events that you've seen at IU and Purdue, some of the other colleges around the country. So as I said, I feel really good about what we've been able to do so far. And I hope that you all haven't noticed any bad behavior on the part of our students who may be living in the community. I told the mayor if he identifies any of our students to let me know, but I haven't gotten any calls yet. And so I really want to commend our entire community for the work that they have done to bring our students back, and to our students for living up to our expectations. The last thing I wanted to talk about is folks want to know what I'm going to spend my time working on this year. And we are working to develop a renewed strategic plan focused on a number of really important priorities. Of course, I want us to be the best, or at least one of the best, liberal arts colleges in the country. I want to make sure that we continue to be fiscally responsible. I want to make sure that we can attract the best and brightest students to come to DePauw. And I want to make sure that we continue to have a great relationship with the city. So with that, I will stop, and I am happy to respond to any questions folks might have.
Dr. White, this is Mark Hammer, and I just want to welcome you to the community too, and I appreciate you coming on this evening and being part, at the beginning of our meeting and speaking with us and everything. So I just wanted to formally welcome you, and we'll have a chance to meet at some point in time, I'm sure. And I appreciate the update that you gave on the pandemic and the COVID cases. It's nice to have very low numbers and such a low positivity rate, and that's encouraging. And I can say that the students I've seen in the downtown area have all been behaving themselves. they've been wearing their masks, and they're very acting very appropriately in that regard. So thank you again. It's good. So it's good to have you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Other comments or questions?
Lori, this is Dave Murray, Council at Large. My wife is the former mayor, and I am personally, having been the Dean of Admissions there for a number of years, I'm interested in your strategic plan. Obviously, it's going to be critical to the future of the university, and when you have that developed, I think it would be great for you to come back and share with the council what that looks like, and are there ways in which we can help you with that strategic plan, because DePauw is an integral and important part of our community.
Thank you so much for that, Dave, and I hope that you all will also participate, in our conversations around the development of the strategic plan. So I will let you know what opportunities there are to engage. Would really like your input. You all, as I said, are such an important part of what makes DePauw is the town of Greencastle, and so would love your input, your ideas, and your thoughts.
Other comments or questions? And you do have two members of your staff and faculty on our city council currently, and there's been a long tradition of members of DePauw faculty and staff serving on city council, so there is a direct connection.
That's great.
We should also point out, though, Bill, we also have a proud DePauw alumni sitting on our city council as well. I don't want to forget that.
And we have had a few alums on council over the years, and currently Jake is working at Ivy Tech and with the ASAP program there, and he is a recent graduate of DePauw.
All right, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
I apologize for the shaky camera. I'm holding our camera by my hand.
Right. I can see folks, so that's great. I appreciate that. It's always a little odd to speak into the camera and not be able to see the audience.
Okay, well, we appreciate your time. Know that my office, as well as all the members of City Council and our clerk treasurer and our department heads, are always available to help answer any questions or, support the university like we support the rest of the community, because it is, as Dave said, an integral part of the community, and it is our largest land user within the city limits. So, and we certainly appreciate having the energy and vitality of the students in the community when they're engaged on campus. So we appreciate your time this evening, and hopefully next time we'll be able to have everybody in person.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mayor Dory. Thank you, council members. And I hope when you see me around town, you will stop me and introduce yourself, so I have a chance to establish a personal relationship with each of you. So I hope the rest of your meeting goes well, and I look forward to the opportunity to connect again, and hopefully someday soon in person. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Okay, our next items of business are special requests. The first one is
Any other
from...
public petitions and comments?
I'm sorry?
Are there any other public petitions and comments? I think we don't have too much.
No, I'm not that aware of here. Any other public petitions or comments?
Okay.
Our next item of business is special requests. First one is street closure request from the Greencastle Masonic Lodge. Jared Blas here. Jared, please come up and answer any questions about your request. Looks like you're looking for street closure for the annual fish fry.
We are. October 2nd, with COVID, going to try to serve outside more than inside meals. So we were hoping to close Vine Street. We're going to do a lunch and dinner. So we were hoping it would overlap with First Friday, but I think those are done for the year. So we're hoping to serve for our fish fry from Swinging Wide, 10 a.m., 10 p.m. Of course, I'm sure we'd be done before that, be out of food before that, but serving lunch and dinner, give people the opportunity to not be in the building eating and be outside eating. We usually do a tent in the front yard anyway. They can seat 30 or 40. We're expecting to bring in 8 picnic tables, only be closed from Washington to the alley. So of course, the parking lot was way open, even the parking spots in front of Idols. So it's really one parking spot. Is that what's right in front of the lodge anyway? So, yep, we were hoping to do it. It's an idea, throwing it, got the sheet in, and that's where we end up here. So, hoping to do it for something new, and safety being what it is.
Anybody have any questions for Jared?
I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a neat opportunity.
Yes, it is.
We'll see how it goes. It might be an annual thing. But with everything else and people wanting to get out, I think that's the safest way. We'll follow all the safety rules and guidelines by the Board of Health for the service. The more we can get outside. We're doing a lot of carry-out, so we're going to push that. We usually feed the whole courthouse that day, by virtue of they know it's coming. So they run down and because the ladies that usually serve like they're serving the grandkids getting ready to play football. So it'll fill up a whole tray. So.
And you're not serving alcohol?
No, we can't. It's not allowed in the building.
Well, since Mark
Or
Hammer
anywhere.
is even closer than the courthouse, I'll let him make the motion to approve the request.
Well, I'll make the motion to grant the street closure on the October 2nd from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. from the Masonic Temple.
I'll second that as a Freemason, so
There you go.
I want my name on there.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the requested street closure by the Greencastle Masonic Lodge. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we'll get the paperwork for you.
Thank you, Mayor. If there's any connections with weather, we would, if you guys could put in a good word for us for that day.
That's above my pay grade, I'm sorry to say.
All right, guys, thanks. Thank you, Jared.
Okay, the next item is on the agenda was for the Greencastle Elks Lodge, and Ms. Barger is not able to attend tonight, but as we were looking at this, they may not need a noise ordinance waiver because their time of the event ends at 10 p.m., which is well earlier than our standards, so I don't know that we need to actually take any action on this.
I would still, I mean, they were nice enough to turn it in. I mean, I'm fine with giving them a noise waiver.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
I'll second that motion.
And I too wondered the same thing when I looked at it, but I thought, well, it's right up against the 10 p.m., so in case it goes a little longer,
Cleanup time.
yeah. Probably won't be too noisy during cleanup.
So.
Pardon me?
I lived next door to that for like 18 years.
Yeah.
It's a little louder. It's fine.
Okay. Well, they claim that there are going to be less than 50 people, way less than 50 people.
Yeah, that's what she told me when she called, that she couldn't make it.
So,
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the noise ordinance waiver request for the Greencastle Elks Lodge. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
aye?
Aye.
Okay, that's taken care of. The next item of business is the parking request by Old National Bank. And Kara, if you're online, you'll have to unmute yourself. Okay. Kara Gooden is called in. She couldn't attend in person tonight, but she is available to answer any questions. We did email out some information earlier about the possibility of parking a mobile banking unit on Indiana Street. And my suggestion is that we, because of the size of the vehicle, we park it in, the parking spaces, like in front of Crown. There's no, obviously no parking there because the street's been closed for Moore's Bar and related activity. And then that would continue to maintain the emergency lane and space for loading and unloading when we have deliveries to deal with on the street. So Kara, do you want to add any comments or anything? Well,
Hey, Bill, maybe you can, I have a couple questions and maybe you can answer them.
go ahead.
And I was just getting confused today as I was envisioning this. They're going to put a mobile banking unit kind of in front of Crown, across from Moore's. That will still allow Moore's and the Tap House to do what they're doing on the street, correct?
Tap House has not put out any tables as far as I know yet. They've kind of said
Allow
they're,
the tables to
all the other tables have been on the Moore side of the street.
And what the mobile banking unit is going to have is just an ATM, or is it going to have walk-up banking?
It does have the ability to have walk-up banking, so I don't know if they'll station somebody in it or maybe just station people in it, if it's a busy time of the day. But right now, they don't have an ATM because their ATM was part of their old drive-up. Once the new drive-up is done and the new bank is done, these problems all go away because that's taken care of as part of that.
So would this mean that the street will need to stay closed, even if we don't continue with the tables out on the street?
Their initial request is for 4 to 5 weeks, so that, would carry us through the good weather of October, and then, probably, depending on what the governor does with all of his stuff, and, what the weather's like. If it turns cold and Moore's is not serving meals out, we may have to reconsider.
Well, we couldn't reconsider with that unit there. We have to keep the street closed, which is fine.
Yeah, but by then, they may also have some of their parking lot done, because their intent is to move it back into their parking lot once their parking lot's done.
Kara, can you hear me? This is Dave.
I don't,
She's not.
I'm not sure if she's online or not. I've got somebody who's unmuted themselves at 0766.
Yeah, the request said that they were going to move the trailer as soon as they could once the parking lot was,
It's my ward.
before the building was finished completely.
I'm fine with making the motion.
I think you need to have an exact date instead of just leaving it some.
Yeah, that's where I was going. I wanted to talk with
Make a
Karen.
motion so they can have it before, when's our next council meeting?
It's pretty early, I think.
Second.
The 8th?
October the 8th.
I'll make the motion.
Wait.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got,
I have some concerns and
I've
some
got
questions, and having lived in the banking world, my first one is security.
Yep, same here.
Normally ATMs have cameras, and if they're going to have people actually physically in the mobile unit, I'm sure they've thought through how the security works, but that would be an easy target for someone.
just being parked there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I also wanted to know more about the power. Do we plug in somewhere? Is it noisy? Does it have a generator? I'm just thinking about the neighbors that are around the area. And then, like Adam said, I just want to know about the time frame, because we've been burned before on short-term things that ended up being longer term. So I'm not against it. I just would like more information.
I would suggest that if you...
Or Doris, I'm on the call. Can you hear me?
There we go, okay. Did you hear the questions,
I'm sorry.
Tara?
Yeah, so I've heard everything. So the unit is self-contained, and we're only asking for 4 to 5 weeks until our parking lot is completed, and then we're going to relocate this to our own property. It is to ease the senior citizens that are having difficulty. They don't do online banking. They do not choose to use other ONB ATM. They don't want to use outside ATMs. They want to use an ONB secure site. This unit is self-contained. It doesn't need plugged in. It's monitored by Loomis. We could put a transactional drawer in there with a live person. At this time, I don't have the manpower to do that. This is just to allow our customers to have some accessibility and feel comfortable using an Old National Bank ATM on a very limited time frame.
How about, we're not saying you would burn us, I know you won't, but we have had issues before. If we made this motion to allow it till October 17th, which is actually a little over 5 weeks, and that would give you, if there's a problem, you would be able to come back to the council at our next meeting.
But that won't be until the second week of November.
Well, she could come back.
We're coming back on the 8th, but he's saying to the 17th.
17th of October is what I was saying.
Yeah, she
Right.
can petition.
I think what Adam's saying is if they could see that they need a little longer, they could come back at the 8th.
Back on the 8th, okay.
Then they're within 9 days of being done with it.
Right, but then
The
if
17th,
by
the end of
some
the week.
chance we said no, they wouldn't have to move it the next day. They would have,
Is the 17th a Friday, end of the week?
I
Well,
think it's actually Saturday.
That's fine, yeah.
Saturday. So my thought was, if we do not extend it, they would have almost another week to get it out of there versus us not extending it on the 8th, and then they got to try to move it the next day.
I think
It's
Stacy's...
a mobile unit. It's the mobile unit. We can move it at a notice of anything. It's not a difficult issue. We own other properties here. We can relocate until our property is completed. They're already dumping to level out that and build up our back parking lot. I don't think this is going to be an issue. I am working hand in hand with Todd Burgess. He's the general manager of this build, and he says everything is right on time at this moment.
I was trying to be nice, so that's fine.
well,
I can make it stricter. I was trying to help you out.
the council meets on the October 15th, so if there would be a problem.
Hey,
Oh, okay, council meets on the 8th, so if there would be a problem, Tara could come and request another couple weeks after the 17th if there's,
that's why I picked the 17th.
Yeah, through the 17th. We're going
Through
to make that clear.
we're done.
Through the
Through the 17th.
Through.
But I think Stacy's question about noise is a valid one. Can you give us a little more clarity on, you said it's self-contained. Is there any sort of onboard generator of some sort that generates noise?
It's a power source, and it is self-contained. It should not create any noises. It's just like an ATM. So if you're going up to an ATM, you're not going to hear any outside noises or disturbances. It should just see our unit there. If we want to put a live person in there, we could. At this time, I'm going to tell you I don't have the manpower to do that. So it would be straight up an ATM unit.
Okay, thank you.
Electricity?
It's self-contained, yeah. I feel much better about it, Kara, knowing that it's just going to be an ATM, and I think that'll be good for the residents of Greencastle. I would want, though, to make sure that the neighbors on the street are okay with the unit sitting out there, Crown and Tap House. I think if we pass the motion, we need to kind of pass it with caveat that as long as we don't have issues with the other folks on the street.
I don't know.
I think
What do you mean by that? So one person could say,
I mean, is it going to sit right in front of Crown, Lori? I mean, is it going to be out in the street, or is it going to be on the...
it'll be in the street.
Yeah.
It'll be in the parking spot, right?
Yeah. The problem is we have the bump outs, from the alley to Washington Street. And this is a fairly good sized vehicle, and we want to make sure we maintain the emergency access. So if we move a little further south and put it in front of Crown, those are parking spaces that are not being used currently. Nobody has any tables set there or anything like that. And it allows for a wider fire lane and emergency access lane. And then, if we have any deliveries there for anything, it allows delivery trucks to easily maneuver.
Kara, it doesn't have anything to do with our request, but I'm trying to put myself in the position of the bank, and I'm wondering about what your security looks like for your sake, so that the next John Dillinger doesn't attack this unit at some point in time.
I don't think that's going to be an issue, though. I mean, we have not had any issues with maybe one unit in Greencastle obtaining skimmers. We check them daily. We check them 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. Local police enforcement around the corner, it does have alarm. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think it will enhance all the businesses to allow their customers to get cash accessibility and not use a debit card and be charged a surcharge. It should be a win-win for all of us.
Sounds good. Good luck. I move that we approve the request.
I'd like to have the same contract that Morris did and all the others that are within our right of way, so that they stay out of the street, so that they're in the parking spots, so that we're maintaining the accessibility with the fire department at all times, and those same kind of restrictions. That's the only thing that I would request.
Kara, did you hear what Lori said?
Contingent upon that.
Kind of. Something about being out of the area. Yeah, fairly is kind of a little rumbled.
Well, what we have is like with Moore's Bar, to close the street there, we have a contract with them, given certain responsibilities that they have to adhere to. And so Lori is proposing that for this arrangement, we have a similar contract. It talks to like making sure the fire lane is clear and stuff like that. So and then you guys have insurance, which we know you do, and things like that. So we'll need a certificate of insurance, for example.
Yes, that should not be a problem.
And so basically it's just we'd be treating the bank the same way that we are treating Moore's Bar for this special request.
So
Absolutely, we expect nothing less.
how about the motion read that we approve this until October 17th, with them having the right through October 17th. Sorry. Through October 17th. They have the right to come back and ask again on the 8th. And that they have to sign an agreement similar to the one that Moore's Bar signed, maintaining right of way and all other restrictions we placed on Moore's. Lori, is that?
Yeah, and I can have that for you tomorrow morning. I'll need to get the exact legal name of the corporation from you, so.
And then I don't know what we do to start getting complaints.
We have to live with our decision.
Okay. We'll do Adam as the motion. Dave, do you want to second that then?
That's fine.
Kara, I would ask that you make contact with Crown and make sure that they're agreeable to allow the bank to park the vehicle in front of their location.
Absolutely.
I'm not expecting any issue there because they still have a lot of people working at home.
Yeah.
And they don't.
I could.
Does Crown
and they don't have a lot of customer traffic in and out of that building.
Does Crown have the ability to nix this deal because we're in a city parking spot? I don't think that's right.
I don't think so either, and it's short term. If this were something
Right.
for 3 months, or if this were longer, I would say that,
But Bill said they just need to talk to Crown.
right.
Let them know, but don't give them a choice in the decision.
No, but you said we're about to make it and live with it.
You know, we,
Right, we are.
Kara, when you walk up, Mark Hammer, when you walk up to to use the ATM, will you be on the sidewalk or out in the street?
I believe it's going to be out in the street. That's why we selected the street that was closed. So the vehicle will be up against the curb, and they'll be able to walk freely up to the ATM as if they were approaching any other ATM.
Okay.
We could park it backwards and make it accessible from the sidewalk if that's what you choose. It is a mobile unit. We could turn it around. It doesn't matter, whatever pleases the council.
I would prefer it almost to be in the street so that you're not
Having people line up and,
and blocking ADA accessibility.
Or entrance to Crown.
Just a point of order, how do we, and I'm new, so correct me if I'm wrong, but how do we keep making motions in seconds and then continuing the discussion on these things? I don't fully understand how that process works.
That's the normal course of things. Unless somebody calls the question, people are able to comment further on the motion.
Okay, thank you.
We try to keep it, and I know we try to keep it reasonably friendly, but we don't follow it exactly.
Well, no, the Robert's Rules of Orders until the question is called.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
so we have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I was an aye. I didn't get it in time.
Good, Cody. Thanks. Okay, Kara, we'll be in contact tomorrow to get, some of the information from you.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. It did pass 7-0.
Thank you. I appreciate all of your efforts to help us ease our customers' pains. I really appreciate it, and you all have a good evening.
Thanks, Kara.
Thanks, Kara.
Thanks, Kara.
Bye-bye.
I will say, as part of the bank project, we're probably getting about 200 and some feet of new curb and gutter around their site, which is benefit to the city, and some new sidewalk as well around their site. So, they're making that investment as well. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing for the 2021 budget. I'm going to turn the floor over to Linda because she took care of making sure that was advertised and available to the public, and if she wants to make any comments in that regard.
So what we need to do is have our public hearing in case anyone here wants to make any comments about our budget. It was advertised beginning on August the 14th, so it's been out there for quite a while on our gateway, so it meets the requirements of being out there at least 10 days, which has been well over that. So basically, we'll open it up if there's anybody in the audience or anybody that has any questions about what was advertised on the budget. It is advertised on our gateway government website, which is what the statute requires us to do.
And there's, even though we're having a public hearing tonight, it does take 2 readings to approve the budget. So if somebody does have a question, they're always welcome to stop by City Hall and can view the budget here as well as online. We have several members of the public here this evening. Do you have any questions or comments? Travis?
I was going to pull it up on the gateway. Is this the State Board of Accounts?
No, it's under, it's gateway.in.gov, and you should be able to go look under Putnam County, and then you'll find the Greencastle Civil City.
Now, that doesn't include utilities, right?
Correct. This has nothing to do with utilities. This is only our rainy day general fund, bond number 3, fire and police pensions, local road and street, motor vehicle highway, parks and rec, park non-reverting capital, cemetery, CCI, CCD, edit, and then some of our other smaller things, softball, non-reverting, those types of things. So yeah, nothing with utilities there.
It's not even salary in this one, is it?
Huh?
Salary's not in this.
No.
Salary's in the next one.
Well, yeah, it's included in the budget.
Salaries are included in the budget.
So it's just what all we budgeted for the,
All the expenses.
all the expenses and all the revenues that we receive in.
I'd like to thank you, Linda, and your staff for this hard work. I know you get buried for a couple months when you dive in here. I know you love the numbers, but I know also it can be overwhelming. So thank you and your group for all your hard work and research on this.
Definitely.
No, the department heads also spent a lot of time on it too, so especially this year. Okay, hearing no comments from the public, if anybody's online, they'll need to unmute themselves to make any comment.
And again, Bill, like you said, they can come back.
And again, anybody can come back into City Hall and take a look at things. Hearing no comments from the public, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I so move.
Second?
I will second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, please indicate your approval to close the public hearing by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, next, department reports were included in the packet, and then Rod left his on the table. We have a number of department heads that are on vacation this week, trying to use up some vacation for prior to the end of the year. Rod, I'll give you 30 seconds if you want to advertise anything. Okay. What? And as always, you're always welcome to call any of the department heads if you would have a question. Okay. Moving on to department or to mayor's report, and clerk treasurer's report, and councilor's report. A few things. We continue to deal with the coronavirus on a day-to-day basis. I think Lori can report that all of our supplies have been received, and I understand she had to kind of pull rank on one company to get the delivery. But I believe all of the items that we purchased in support of the Greencastle schools in Area 30 have been received and delivered. Is that correct?
I believe so. I'm not sure about the generic mask, the big order of masks.
Okay.
I haven't heard back on that one yet.
My wife reported that she had to pull rank on a company that was being a little slow on their delivery.
They were not. Yeah, they told me they were in the mail. It was in the mail several times and for several weeks. And yeah.
Lori, could you, for the public's sake, comment a little bit more on the CARES Act stuff, looking at the expenses earlier today? Sure. You kind of, headed that up, and I think it's important for them to know what we're able to do to help the schools through that money.
Yeah, it was actually a really positive thing. Of course, a lot of the CARES Act money that the city received will be going towards some of the extra pay and overtime for our police and fire and emergency services expenses. But we, and I'm not sure if any other communities did this, reached out to the schools to help them with some of their extraordinary expenses. The primary purchase was the drinking fountains, to convert 20 of the drinking fountains in all of the schools and McAnally, or at least some in each school, to water bottle filling stations. So that was the big expense. But we had other expenses for, you just don't think about all the things that have to be done. We bought plexiglass dividers for elementary schools and for intermediate school, and we bought cones because they had to redirect traffic. We bought a lot of different things for the music program because they have very different needs that the other classrooms don't have. You just don't think about all of the the aerosol, the things that are for choir students and for band students, special face masks for singers so that they can actually breathe when they're singing and breathing in, and special ones to protect band instruments so that they have slits for the instruments, and I mean just various different interesting things that the schools needed. We bought hand sanitizer stations. We bought different kinds of masks. We have masks. And some of the things we bought for City Hall because we thought they were good ideas that the schools had, and we thought, well, we should do that too. We bought some masks that had the clear faces so that people with disabilities and hearing disabilities who can read lips but can't hear, we have those, and actually we have some extra if reasonable accommodations need to be made for people in the public. And so anyway, that kind of gives you an idea of the things that we did. It was actually a pretty big task, and Linda was very helpful in helping set up accounts, and it wasn't really easy because we had to set up the tax exempt status and purchase orders, and with all these new companies, and get W-9s and all sorts of things. So yeah, they were not our usual companies that we deal with. But
thank you both.
How much money in the end were we able to purchase for the school?
$35,000, which is but the vast majority was for the city employees.
Sure.
But still, it was the things that they really needed.
No.
And I think we asked each school, and each school gave us a list of what they needed, and so. And then Area 30 had some tables
And an air conditioner.
and an air conditioner
Great.
unit that went out. So.
And I think we've got the county convinced to share some of their money with the other school districts and Area 30 as well. So they're working on the paperwork with the other school districts. So, and then Linda has submitted our first claim against the CARES Act. So hopefully we'll see something show up in our bank account here before too long. And we should try to keep it simple with the first one to make sure it works, and then we'll send in other things as
We'll
we
start getting all the other ones.
And the schools are all really, really appreciative of council for allowing it and for us extending to help. So I've gotten thank you notes and emails and.
And from a selfish standpoint, if we can help the schools be safe, that helps the rest of the community be safe too. So.
That's right.
Right, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Need to keep the schools open.
A couple other things. Vectren gas line, they're working along Arlington Street probably through roughly September 14th to make repairs to sidewalks, driveways, curbs, and the street. They will then move their gas line replacement work about September 14th to Houck Road. Zinc Mill Road construction is well underway. We do ask that people be cautious in that area as the construction proceeds. Again, I'd like to recognize our staff for their good work during all this coronavirus stuff. That continues. Jackson Street, work is moving well on that project. We believe we've got all the detours taken care of. DePaul did add a few signs and relocate some signs. There was a little bit of a issue because we were doing some sewer work on Indiana Street, and it was supposed to have been done by contract on August 17th, but there was a delay in getting the manhole concrete castings, and so that slowed that project up. That project is done, so that has removed that impediment from the neighborhood. The new parking lot is open. We're continuing to move forward on the YMCA project in a variety of fronts. Tennis courts are open, being well used, as was reported at the park board meeting last night. Second phase of the pool improvements is being rebid because the bids came in too high. We actually had a reasonable low bidder, but they had to be dismissed because they did not complete, or did not submit a complete bid package with all the required documentation. Big Walnut parking lot and dugouts is out to bid. We have a pre-bid meeting tomorrow afternoon. Wayfinding, we've had good meetings with NDOT. They've made some suggestions for us and alerted us to a couple changes and some requirements. We also had the fabricator out inspecting some critical locations, and we made some minor revisions based on measurements and some of the issues at those locations. So we'll be receiving revised shop drawings here shortly. Otherwise, NDOT was pretty much okay with what we proposed. They did allow us to use some modified letter sizes because of the tight right-of-way on 231. Street projects were awarded to Wabash Valley Asphalt, and those will be underway shortly. And then other than that, just a couple other things. Whispering Winds at Woods Edge has opened up the second phase of 33 lots, and we've already issued at least 8 home permits for that subdivision. I think it's actually maybe up to 10. I didn't get a chance to ask Patrick today. So he's had good interest in that, and it's our understanding that the first 2 buildings at Zinc Mill Terrace Phase 2 have opened and are accepting tenants, and they continue to work on that project. We will also be having a meeting towards the end of the month with RQAW, which is the engineering firm for the US 231 project, to discuss design details of our water line that NDOT is helping us finance. So they're getting started on those construction documents, and they want to meet with our water utility staff to review those and discuss any issues, and there'll probably be some other discussion about utility coordination as that project continues on. So I'll be happy to answer any questions, and otherwise I'll turn the floor over to Linda. Hearing none, I'll turn it over to Linda.
So I left on your at your seat the letter that we're going to send out to our utility customers that have balances. And then next council meeting, if there hasn't been any major changes with the governor, then we will ask for that ordinance to be rescinded on penalties and water being shut off. So they will receive it. This is the letter that will go out. Right now we have 83 customers that are behind on their water, all over the board with different amounts. It clearly states when we'll turn the water off, how they can come in and make a payment arrangement, how it must be done before the 19th. We can allow 6 payments. And they will have to be current on their current bill, so they will have to at least pay for their current bill and then start the payment arrangements. So this will get sent out. You'll see that here, and then we'll move forward with removing things next council unless something major changes between now and then. So the other thing,
just wanted to comment, if folks are struggling with utilities, I'm on the board for Beyond Homeless, we have a utility assistance program, so please send them just a walk over and apply for help.
okay. Yeah, we might have some that need to do that, so.
Sometimes the township trustees have some money too, so we've sent people there, but thank you, Travis.
Yep. The other thing, we will need to be scheduling a utilities meeting with both you guys and the Board of Works to go ahead and get started back on the water rate review. We still have time to make that happen this year, and we've gotten the information back from the consulting people who reached out to do a portion of that, so we're kind of ready to move forward with that. So we'll be sending out, some times that we might be able to do that. So that will be coming along. The other thing is, and I can include it in the budget, but I'll just go ahead and mention it now, is either the October or November meeting, the council will need to make a decision about the bonuses that would be paid out this year, that we talked for this budget of $1,000 for each employee. That would be paid out the 1st of December. The good news is that our AIM Medical Trust, our insurance company, is giving us a holiday in the month of December. So what that means is in January we will not have an insurance bill, and that's about $60,000, $70,000. So our employees will also get a holiday in December where they will not have anything taken out, and we won't be paying anything. So that's good news. So that does help us out in making that decision, I would say also. So I will have some information for you at that council meeting to be able to make that decision as to whether we're going to pay those bonuses out that we had put in our salary ordinance for this year. So that's the few things that I have.
Great.
Okay, councilors, Mark?
I meant to ask you can you update us on the streets that are going to be being paved? Do you have that handy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have that. The bid came in, I think, about $285,000, which was a good bid, but we intentionally bid a lower number of street segments because of the decrease in gas tax money this year. Mm-hmm. Avenue D, 2 segments, so I mean the whole length. Kingswood, which is cement panel patching, Kentwood, Eagle Court, and a block of Elizabeth Street. And that doesn't include the work that was done at Calvert Way or Zinc Mill Road. Those are all separate contracts.
All right. As I think I've made this comment the last several falls, and that is that as we lose our daylight, if you notice traffic lights, or not traffic lights, street lights in your neighborhood that are out, or turning on and off, which is just prior to them to completely going out, be sure to contact City Hall and report those, because we want to make sure that we're keeping things well lit, especially with now that we're having more and more darkness. And so I just want to make that people aware of that. You can also go on the Duke Energy site if you have the poll number and you have to get the tag off that.
We actually have a link on our city website that connects them with the Duke site.
Okay.
The nice thing is Duke will send an email out indicating that they've received the request, and then they'll send out another email when the light is repaired. Okay. So if people want to do it directly, they're welcome to, or they can call in, and Linda Huber is an expert at reporting streetlight outages.
All right. So I really can't think of anything else right offhand. I try to keep track of stuff during the month and everything else, and then I forget all about it. So anyway, Stacy?
I want to just take a minute and talk about voting. With everything in the news, I think we're all wondering, how's it going to work? The League of Women Voters has put together a wonderful document, and it is on our city website, and I think it's on our Facebook page now, or if it's not, it's...
in your water bill.
And it'll be in the water bill. You need to register by October 5th. There is also a website on here that if you're not sure if you're registered or not, just to confirm it. Absentee voting, you have to request a ballot, and there's a date you have to do this by and an online way that you do it. Then we also have early in-person voting at the courthouse again this year that begins October 6th. Obviously, Election Day in-person voting will also happen in Indiana. So if you have questions, if your neighbors have questions, this is a wonderful resource. Again, the League of Women Voters we have to thank for this. It has voting centers, it has dates on here, and my hope is that Putnam County is very well represented in this year's election. So go to our website, check out the information if you have questions, go to Facebook, and let's get out and vote. And open your water bill.
Pay your water bill while you're at it.
Yep. That's it.
and that website that Stacy was citing there is indianavoters.com. It's very, very easy to remember. You can check your voter registration status as well as see who's on your ballot, which is always a great thing. There's a few things I wanted to uplift that are coming up in the next week or so, particularly of note. Some former civic servants to our community, Steve Fields and Charlie Miles, are both having celebrations of life coming up over the course of the next several days. Steve Fields will be at Hopkins Rector on Sunday the 13th from 3 until 6 p.m. Charlie Miles will have a celebration of life at Gobin Church Friday the 18th at 3 p.m. The other thing that I wanted to uplift for our community is an event happening at Roban Park on Saturday, September 19th from 2 until 5 p.m. The Putnam County Recovery Coalition, which helps support families and family members of addicted folks. There's going to be a Voices of Recovery event to help stop the stigma of addiction. There's going to be a live band. Terry Pepple and band will begin at 2 o'clock. There'll be several speakers, an opportunity to hear from folks who have overcome addiction, folks who have had family members and who have had good outcomes as well. And we hope that all the folks who are interested in helping stop the stigma can partake in that event. And that's all I've got.
Great. Just one thing on my end, I'd like to draw attention to something very positive for our city and also our county. We recently received word that our GEAR grant, which I believe I drew attention to last month's meeting, which was intended to help provide some assistance to the local schools in getting some devices as well as provide Wi-Fi hotspots and Wi-Fi accessibility to their students. That grant was actually approved by the state through the governor's office to the tune of $152,000, which will be used throughout the county, but will directly impact our schools here in Greencastle as well. About $28,000 of that will be used for actual devices for students and staff to assist in their virtual learning environment, and then the remaining 123 or so thousand will be used to purchase Wi-Fi hotspots, as well as potentially look at other ways to assist families in getting Wi-Fi access at home, because many of the families that do not have access also have challenges driving places that may have access, whether that be McDonald's or an Ivy Tech parking lot. So very good news there. More to come on that. I just want to thank the 4 county schools that came together to work on this. CJ Shields and Jeff Gibney at the Greencastle Community School Corporation really led the charge on this as well. And then our internet service providers, Endeavor and Park County REMC, played a big role in this, and then many other community partners and nonprofits. Travis was also involved here from DePaul, really pitched in and made this a grant worth writing. So we're very thrilled with the results, and hopefully we can get a press release out there soon to really detail how this is going to be used. So that's what I wanted to draw attention to, a very positive thing for us here moving forward.
I found something really positive in the information we were provided when it comes to the utilities. We went from, in April, 25,690,000 gallons sold to, in July, 38,842. And our unaccountable water dropped from 22% to 9.8%. So my question was, did the unaccountable water drop because we sold so much more water? That's not the case. The revenues in that period of time were up 51%, but the unaccountable water is down 33%. So I think that's significant. Oscar's not here tonight. Linda, I'll let you and Melanie and Oscar sort that out. But I think that's going to be important for us to understand what's going on there as we look at water rates and sewage rates going forward. So just wanted to draw attention to that. Don't need to discuss it tonight, but I'll be curious to hear what you all think.
Let's hope it continues.
Yeah, that's right. This is the lowest unaccountable water rate since back in 2018, so significant, seemingly.
The water utility is going through a process of like an audit system that the state is kind of standardizing how water loss is calculated. So we may see some changes in that as that continues to roll out. So
okay,
see what happens.
Just a couple things. First off, unaccountable water, I think, is the great mystery of being on city council. Since the first year I joined, I asked George if he could explain it to me. I've never understood why it bounces so much each month, and I kind of given up on it, so it's okay. I did like what Travis said, and maybe Linda not did any work, and then what Bill said, maybe we could have a little card, or maybe you already have this at the utility window, that we can just hand people if they come in and say they really can't make the payment, like go 2 blocks up the street or call the county trustee, township trustee to get some help, and then we can at least say we've documented it, we've handed it out, and I know people get confused on where to go to get help, but there's certainly help in the community if they need it, and that's important for them to remember. Dr. White alluded to it, our students are back. To everybody in town that says hello to them. Speaking to the people on TV, thank you. Please do that. It does mean a lot to our kids, especially right now. The first years are here kind of solo, and people say hello. And I got to shout out Veronica because she did make all of us very famous. The Pledge of Allegiance, which I also need to thank Bill for because he started the tradition, which gave Veronica plenty of practice when she stood up on a national audience in front of a covered bridge and started the Pledge of Allegiance for us one night on TV. So,
Thanks,
Bill and Veronica, awesome.
Thank you.
That's what I got.
I'd like to just take a moment to add a couple things to my notes, if I could. Just one.
Cody.
Oh, Cody, I'm sorry. Cody, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to say I appreciate the impressive camera work, Mr. Mayor. That really helped me out, and I'm going to brag on you to Joel when he gets home. But Mel, you really touched all the happenings in the 4th Ward with all the construction, and I will say that Zinc Mill Phase 2 is looking great. So if you want some cool neighbors, come on over and give it a look. Other than that, Notre Dame plays the Blue Devils at 2:30 on Saturday, so something at least will be right in the world. I'll teach you all the fight song next month.
Oh, thanks, Cody. Some more good news for the county. Our unemployment claims continue to drop. The first-time claims continue to trend downward, and also the continuing claims numbers continue to go downward. And we have a number of employers here in the community that are looking for employees, one of which would like to hire 400 people in the next couple of months. So there are opportunities out there if people are looking for employment, and just encourage people to pursue those. Okay, next item of business is approval of minutes from the August 13th session.
So moved.
I second Dave's motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
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 Any abstentions or nays? Okay, minutes are approved. Next item of business is city claims. I'll turn the floor over to
Okay.
Mr. Hammer.
So we've got Payroll, just a second, had it here somewhere. Payroll direct. Payroll, $458,614.74. Regular accounts payable, $200,996.37. Direct accounts payable, $757,377.76. That's a lot of sevens there. Pensions, $14,473.03 for a grand total of $1,431,461.90. On the direct accounts payable, we have civil engineering for $20,689. Voight's contractors for $683,376.97. I believe probably both of all of this would be related to the two big construction projects at Zinc Mill, as well as the community center extension by Walmart. We also had a audit for trash for the State Board of Accounts for $3,563, and then just our regular run-of-the-mill Duke and what have you, card services, stuff like that we have every month, $49,749 to make up the total there of $757,377.76. On the regular accounts payable, we had as near as I can, because Adam asked, I quickly pulled out all the ones that were marked CARES Act, and I came up with just under $27,000, but there may be some other ones in
The
there.
rest of them are on the card services.
Are in card services. There we go. Okay. So we've got a couple of equipment repairs for the fire department that total about $2,200 to Apparatus Service and American Test Center. We got new tasers from Axon, I guess, or Xeon, or Enterprises for $9,470. We have the ones for the CARES Act that I can identify real quickly on here. The school water filling stations were $20,064 from Global Industries. There were masks from Open Jar Studios for choir students, and this was $2,441. Pages Music, covers for the band instruments for $3,402, and there's another one that it says Legacy Millworks for $1,050.
That's plexiglass.
There you go. That's the plexiglass you talked about. So those are the ones I could identify rather quickly. Aquatic Center renovations, we had Graves Construction for $51,505.20, as well as something Aquatic Center Engineering for Hannum Wagon Klein for $25,452. And annual membership to the Putnam County Chamber of Commerce. I don't know why that was just marked there. Okay, $2,500. Annual money for the online support for the Parks Department on Rec Desk was $3,900. Is $3,900, along with Spear Corporation. Still have some pool chemicals for $842. Parts for the cameras at the police department for the Gould Company of $5,064. And annual GIS mapping support for the fire department, WTH Technologies, for $4,900 and $350. So those are some of the highlights of the regular accounts payable. So I would move for adoption of the claims as presented, again, for a total of $1,431,461.90.
Be glad to second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Claims get paid. We have no old business. Moving to new business, we have ordinance 2020-6, first reading, an ordinance for appropriations and tax rates, and that is the State Board of Accounts form here.
Gateway form.
And it's an ordinance for appropriations and tax rates, ordinance number 2020-6. Be it ordained by the City of Greencastle Common Council that for the expenses of Greencastle Civil City for the year ending December 31, 2021, the sums herein specified are hereby appropriated and ordered set apart out of the several funds herein named and for the purposes herein specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Such sums herein appropriated shall be held to include all expenditures authorized to be made during the year, unless otherwise expressly stipulated and provided for by law. In addition, for the purposes of raising revenue to meet the necessary expenses of the Greencastle Civil City, the property tax levies and property tax rates as herein specified are included herein. Budget Form 4B for all funds must be completed and submitted in the manner prescribed by the Department of Local Government Finance. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approved by the City of Greencastle Common Council. The ordinance lists the funds, rainy day, no tax levy, no tax rate, but an adopted budget of $250,000. General fund, adopted budget, $4,539,211. Tax levy, $2,369,498. Tax rate, 1.1589. Bond number 3, $101,000. Adopted budget and an adopted levy, $101,000. Adopted tax rate, 0.0494. Fire pension, $132,221. Tax levy 0, rate 0. Police pension, $143,802. Tax levy 0, tax rate 0. Local road and street, $59,000. Tax rate or tax levy 0, tax rate 0. Motor vehicle highway, $1,480,365. Tax levy, $522,525. Tax rate, 0.2556. Park and recreation, $695,719 for the budget, $475,204 for the levy. Adopted rate, 2.2324. Non-reverting park, non-reverting capital, budget of 0, levy of 0, tax rate of 0. Cemetery, $309,565,000 for the budget, $203,014 for the levy, tax levy 0.0993. Cumulative capital improvement or the cigarette tax, adopted budget $100,000, tax levy 0, tax rate 0. Cumulative capital development $215,000, tax levy $140,110, tax rate 0.0466. Economic development income tax seated, $842,191 for the budget, adopted levy 0, adopted tax rate 0. Tax increment replacement, adopted budget 0, adopted tax levy 0, adopted tax rate 0. Total adopted budget for the above referenced funds, $8,868,074. Adopted tax levy, $3,811,351. Adopted tax rate, 1.8422. And then on page 2 of the ordinance, some home rule funds. These are not reviewed by DLGF. Cemetery ground improvement, adopted budget $35,000. Cemetery trustee, adopted budget $5,000. Cemetery old mausoleum, $2,500. Non-reverting softball, $20,865. Non-reverting city hall, $25,000. Non-reverting park basketball, $14,983. Public safety, Lloyd, $608,978. Those funds total $712,326. For the benefit of the public, that is through other funding sources and our non-property tax revenue, and then signature lines are provided in the ordinance. And that is the ordinance that reflects the information that Linda has advertised on the city's behalf. Linda, do you have any comments to add?
Nope. I mean, of course, we are doing things in the tax increment replacement, but we don't really have to report anything. It's listed, but because there's a big, long report out on Gateway that talks all about TIFs, so it doesn't have to have a figure in there at this point, so. We've all been through it. We've all
This is first reading, so we'll see it again in October.
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2020-6 on first reading.
I'll second it.
Cody, thanks. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Okay, ordinance passes on first reading. Next ordinance is ordinance number 2020-7. Again, this is first reading. An ordinance establishing the size of departments of the city government of the city of Greencastle, Indiana, fixing salaries for the employees of such departments, and fixing the salaries of certain other appointed officials for the year 2021. This is a fairly lengthy ordinance. I'll be happy to read it in its entirety, but it does include a lot of numbers. It is available for inspection here at City Hall. I think Lori and I talked about this. If it's council's desire, we can waive the reading and I can summarize it. So I'll do that first. Basically, under state statute, we have to list all the salary rates and hourly rates for each of the positions within city government. The information also includes what our longevity pay will be, and that has been reduced so that persons who work with us for the first 35 months, there's no longevity pay. 36 through 72 months, or 36 through 71 months, 1%, 72 through 131 months, 2%, 132 through 167 months, 3%, 168 months or more, 4%. This is reduced by about half of what it was in the past. We also reset salaries and wages for each of the positions in the city to reflect what we learned through the salary and benefits study. So those hourly rates reflect the market value for those positions, and I know this is something that council has been working towards the last couple of years. The ordinance also includes information such as uniform pay for those departments that receive uniforms. Some of our, both our full-time and part-time positions, and other things in summary. So, but like I say, I'll be happy to read the whole thing unless council desires to.
I move to suspend the full detailed reading and go with the summary reading you just gave us on ordinance 2020-7.
I'll second that motion.
Sounds like you're comfortable with that, Lori? Okay.
We've done that on numerous long ordinances.
So it's strictly all numbers.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to waive the full reading of the ordinance. Any further questions or discussion?
We're still contributing $736 to each employee's HSA account on semi-annually, too. Yep. So I didn't think that was touched on.
Good that you brought that up.
And then not reflected here is the fact that we have reduced the number of sick days, and we have...
You'll see that next month.
Yeah,
okay.
And we have increased the participation in the medical from 10% to 15%. So
for the employees.
Yeah, right now, the only motion we have is...
Oh, yes.
So we have a motion and a second on the waive the reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And the full ordinance is available to anybody who wants to see it. It's a public document and available at City Hall.
So, any questions or comments?
Great stuff to fall asleep by.
Yeah, a cure for insomnia.
Any
We will need to amend the employee manual by January 1 for the changes to the sick time and
Vacation.
Mm-hmm. And the longevity, is that also stated in the...
No, it's on the
Longevity's not in that.
This is on the salary ordinance.
Holidays are. Holidays are.
Yeah, they're listed in there.
Yeah,
So yes, next month you'll see we will get the things going for the handbook, the employee handbook changes.
Okay.
I'll be glad to make a motion that we approve ordinance 2020-7, an ordinance establishing the size of the Department of City of Government of the City of Greencastle, Indiana, fixing salaries for the employees of such departments, and fixing the salaries of certain other appointed officials for the year 2021.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve on first reading ordinance 2020-7 as presented. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, ordinance passes on first reading, so we'll see that again next month. Next is ordinance 2020-8, an ordinance fixing the salaries of the elected officers of the City of Greencastle for the year 2021. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, Indiana, that the following total sum of all money shall be payable beginning January 1, 2021 through December 31, 2021. Section 1, that the salaries of elected officials of the City of Greencastle shall be as follows. Mayor, $70,400. Clerk Treasurer, $67,137. Common Council, $6,078 for each member of the council, for a total of $42,546. Section 2, that the general fund shall pay the mayor of the City of Greencastle for services rendered by the mayor on behalf of the general fund during the year 2021, the sum of $23,466.66. That the general fund shall pay the clerk treasurer of the City of Greencastle for services rendered by the clerk treasurer on behalf of the general fund during the year 2021, the sum of $22,379.00. That the general fund shall pay to each member of the Common Council of the City of Greencastle for services rendered by the Common Council on behalf of the general fund during the year 2021, the sum of $4,558.50. Section 3, that the Department of Waterworks shall pay to the mayor of the City of Greencastle for services rendered by the mayor on behalf of the Department of Waterworks during the year 2021, the sum of $23,466.67. That the Department of Waterworks shall pay to the clerk treasurer of the City of Greencastle for services rendered to the clerk treasurer on behalf of the Department of Waterworks during the year 2021, the sum of $22,379.00. That the Department of Waterworks shall pay to each member of the Common Council of the City of Greencastle for services rendered by the Common Council on behalf of the Department of Waterworks during the year 2021, the sum of $759.75. Section 4, that the Department of Sewage shall pay to the mayor of the City of Greencastle for services rendered by the mayor on behalf of the Department of Sewage during the year 2021, the sum of $23,466.67. That the Department of Sewage shall pay to the clerk treasurer of the City of Greencastle for services rendered by the clerk treasurer on behalf of the Department of Sewage during the year 2021, the sum of $22,379.00. That the Department of Sewage shall pay to each member of the Common Council of the City of Greencastle for services rendered by the Common Council on behalf of the Department of Sewage during the year 2021, the sum of $759.75, and then followed by proper signature lines. For the benefit of the public, these are not cumulative. The general fund, water, and sewage contributions are added together to make the total salary for each of the members of the mayor, the clerk treasurer, and the Common Council. So it's not, you don't add all the numbers up. They are kind of a subset that are added to reach the total salary. So I will entertain a motion regarding ordinance 2020-8.
I vote to approve on first reading ordinance 2020-8, an ordinance fixing the salaries of the elected officers of the City of Greencastle for the year 2021.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2020-8 on first reading. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, it passes on first reading. Next item of business is Halloween. We did, I think I sent out an email on some comments from Mike Richmond from Main Street Greencastle about some of their thoughts. It does not appear that they're going to have the big event downtown where we had it kind of wall-to-wall people because of COVID, but they're looking at the possibility of maybe scheduling something for one of the parks where they can spread people out. And then that if they choose to use one of the parks, they'll show up at the park board meeting first week of October. And then, usually council sets the date and time for door-to-door trick-or-treating. And you may recall that it's kind of voluntary participation. If people want to participate, they can turn their porch light on. If they choose not to participate, they can leave their porch light off. So this year, Halloween does fall on a Saturday evening.
And a full moon.
Yep. Is that right?
That may be good or bad, I don't know.
I think it's pretty funny that we're talking about Halloween and trick or treat following the salary ordinance we just passed. In the middle of a pandemic.
So
I would just say that I spoke with Mike this morning, and they're not fully worked out the details, but it sounded like they were leaning towards maybe Big Walnut Sports Park doing a kind of a one-way drive-through with various booths set up, kind of distance spaced out along that road. So I think that's for Main Street to work out with Parks and Rec, but I think it's great to support that and to have something for the community that evening. So,
And Big Walnut's a logical place. It's got that nice one-way shot through it versus the park, which would wind in.
I assume the booths would be companies that normally would have been downtown that people would go to. I mean, I don't think they'd be individuals. Hopefully there'd be booths set up by companies and churches and local organizations. And
I think he communicated a lot of times it's the local first responders, police, fire, EMS. I think a few dentists set up booths, and I think some various other organizations.
Sure.
So
I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the police always do trunk or treat, and the dentist set it up so they get some more business a month later after the event.
I think the visibility, particularly in light of National Night Out having been gone its route, here's an opportunity to get that visibility, and that's a great thing for our community.
So what do you need from us tonight? We need.
Well, I mean, is everybody okay with providing for door-to-door trick-or-treating? That's really
Private.
I think
Getting calls at City Hall.
you can choose to turn your light on or turn your light off. So, it's their decision. So I think I'm fine with doing it.
I mean, really, we passed guidelines, but the truth is we have no control. They can go earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We really can't stop them from going later because we don't have curfews.
People's private property and people going to other people's houses. So.
I think individuals might come up with some creative ways for distributing goodies in ways that are less less heavy contact than might otherwise be.
I see skeleton arms reaching out from behind the mailbox.
Right.
I did ask, during our community COVID call on Tuesday, I did ask if anybody had any concerns or objections, and Dr. Haven from the health department didn't express any grave concerns or anything. The joke was, well, we'll probably see a lot of doctors and nurses and ninjas this year with the face mask. But I think, because it is kind of voluntary, if people do want to participate, I'm personally okay with it. If people are a little, afraid, they can come up with an alternate plan, maybe just have a basket or something out on their step, or not participate this year and just, come back to it next year if everything's in that shape.
So what hours did we do last year, Mark, do you remember?
Probably 5 to 8.
What?
Probably 5 to 8.
Either 5 or 6 to 8, I can't remember.
Still daylight saving time, so
You wanna
probably
make-
light for at least the first half of that.
You want to make the motion? You want to make a motion? Is that a motion?
I think
5
it was 6 o'clock last year,
Was
because
it
people weren't
6 to
home
8?
yet. Or even 5:30, at 5, I don't know if folks are going to be home at 6 to 8 maybe.
We didn't extend it to 9, did we? I don't think we did.
6 to 8.
6 to 8? Okay, that's not a problem. I think there'll probably be a little bit less participation this year.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be a lot less.
I did ask Brian at the chamber, because, there have been a few churches thinking about stuff, and he was going to try to gather some of that information in. I think Linda mentioned her church was looking at something, and there's a couple others that sometimes do things, so there may be some other activities in addition to Main Street activities going on around, but I think people are still putting their thoughts together on that.
So I'll second Mark's motion.
6 to 8.
What you said.
Decorations around town.
Yep.
I just got a 6.5-foot dragon with breeze.
Oh my God.
We have a motion and a second to provide for neighborhood trick-or-treating on Halloween, October 31st, from 6 to 8 p.m. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, looks like trick-or-treat will be the usual hours.
I'd like to go watch some NFL football, so I'm going to move that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, Cody. Hope you're feeling better.
Thank you. Appreciate it.